Hey, what's going on? This is the Convo back in business for Oakridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. You need a car? See me. I will take care of you. I have a ton of 22 Escape on the lot, all-wheel drive, Ford Co-Pilot Assist, plus power seats, heated seats. We've got some with power moonroofs, all kinds of stuff. Get at me. I've got a nice lease special I can tell you about, plus edges. F-150s are always about, and Bronco Sport, the hottest vehicle out there right now besides Maverick and the big Bronco. You know how to get at me at I am Norman James or at Norman Oakridge Ford on Instagram. NJ in London, MIB in Cheektowaga, New York. The Maple Brothers, a 5-2 winner in Game 3 of their first round set against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Mr. Augello, when the Leafs lose, we find ways to pick holes in them. When the team wins, we find ways to pick holes in it. What do we have a problem with tonight? Up 2-1 with the potential of coming back to Toronto up 3-1. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Well, let's just say this, and this is just me as somebody who's an observer of this team. Until you see the fourth win, there's no reason to feel comfortable, and we know the reasons why. Now, Game 3, I give them a lot of credit. Game 3 was closer to Game 1 than Game 2. They came out, they won most of the puck battles early on. They were fast, they were aggressive, they weren't dirty, they didn't take stupid penalties, and they got a 3-0 lead. You know, convert on the early power play. A great play by Ilya Lyubushkin to set up Colin Blackwell for the second goal, then Kampf in the second period with a nice wrist shot beating Vasilevsky. So they're up 3-0. And then tell me anybody in Leafs Nation felt comfortable. Nobody. Because this team, even though they're a very good team, they have trouble holding leads. And
they had trouble holding leads. The 2 games in the series in which they've had leads, they've held them. So,
well, right, but I'm just they scored 5 goals and Tampa really didn't show up in that game, so I don't count that as holding a lead. They just dominated. In this game, they're up 3-0.
Right.
Justin Hall takes a stupid penalty. I don't know why he's in the lineup. I understand the reasons why they did it, but I don't agree with them because I thought Liljegren had played well in the first 2 games. Hall takes a penalty. Colton gets the goal. Tampa's got some momentum. Then they get the Palat goal. And I do think Sheldon Keefe should be given a lot of credit for taking that timeout after the second goal to sort of calm the waters, because I could feel it slipping away.
That's a coaching moment right there. A chance to coach, right? And if it seemed to pay off, so good for them, good for him.
But really, in the last, I'd say 8-9 minutes of regulation, the person who saved the bacon was Jack Campbell,
and that's his job.
Yeah, the save he made on Nick Paul. There was a penalty, a phantom call on Jake Muzzin. I don't understand what the hell he was called for, but he made the right pad save on him, and then the sprawling save on Stamkos. I mean, okay. So they won. Mm-hmm. They got a great goaltending performance out of Campbell. They got secondary scoring, and you need that. But if you look at Tampa, where they get – okay, they got 1 goal out of Ross Colton on their second power play. Palat is a top 6 guy. Mm-hmm. In game 2, they're top 6. Kucherov, Point, Hedman, who's their number 1 defenseman. They all scored. If the Leafs are going to win this series – and they put Cirelli and Killorn and Point up against Matthews and Marner, and they shut them down or limit them, you need your secondary scoring, meaning the second group of your core group. And last night that was Tavares and Nylander. Tavares had a bad game, didn't win any faceoffs, didn't score any points, and Nylander was a friggin' ghost. I'm sorry. You need this team. If this team is going to win, you need Matthews and Marner and Nylander and Tavares producing. And if they don't, they're not going to win.
You're like the old man on the veranda yelling at the kids playing street hockey. Yeah, this is the Convo for Oakridge Ford in London, Ontario, oakridgeford.com. Zach Simpkins, you were indeed first, my friend. Corey Parrish, good evening to you. and of course, Leaf fans all over the world. Andrew Walters couldn't sit down all of Game 3. I hope you're sitting down now. I know this is pretty exhilarating.
Was it hemorrhoids, Andrew?
Yeah. Are you talking to me, Mike?
Andrew.
Well, you should be talking to me. Jeremy Dubbs, Justin Hall, LOL. He's in a playoff series, and who knows? He could score an overtime goal and quadruple overtime, and then we'd love him just for a second. Trevor Hickey, there's a blast from the past. Evening to you. Mr. Ted from Florida, hello, sir. And Michael Matthew, then an OG. There he is.
Don't worry,
something.
I don't like sauerkraut. Oof.
Yeah, well, he is the epitome. He's the human form of a sauerkraut. Although he's a sour. Ooh, it almost slipped out, Mike. You're not a kraut, I can tell you. He's not a kraut. So Dave Camp scores. Ilya Mikheyev scores. The secondary scores didn't do the job by your standards, Mr. Augello. But the guys we didn't expect to get the goals from, at least at this point, did what they had to do. And if you are getting scoring from them right now, how is that a bad sign? These guys are picking up the slack when the top guys are getting cover, or the top guys, it's just not their night. The Leafs are up 2-1, have a chance to win another in Tampa. I know I'm singing the song, but it's a full team effort. Again, we can't rely on just a couple of guys to score. The Leafs do have some balance throughout. What the hell was wrong with this win?
My question is it sustainable? And that's the thing. It's like, okay, I'm just flashing back to last year. And if you remember, Marner and Matthews were shut down by Philip Deneau. And then you got goals out of, that second line with Galchenyuk and Kirk and Nylander, and Spezza threw in the odd goal. And in games 5, 6, and 7, Matthews and Marner didn't do anything. Now, I'm not saying, they did great in the first 2 games, and I'm not saying this was one game, but I'm just saying if they're going to finish off the Lightning, and I think it's still going to go 6 or 7, and I don't know who's going to win. I picked Tampa. I stick with my predictions, but they're going to need not only Matthews and Marner to produce.
Sure.
They need Tavares and Nylander to produce. And
what is up with those guys? Let's just get straight to it, so we're not here forever. So Nylander, his fans will tell you his expected goals are through the roof. If there was an expected goal scoring standings, he would be number 1 by 10 expected goals. So that's great, but what is his issue, right? And again, let's not shit on him. Let's not exacerbate the him not scoring at this point, because he may score some big goals to come. And if they're going on a 16-win run and they win a championship, every one of these dudes is going to produce. But as of now, what do you think the issue is? Why is he not on the score sheet?
I can't remember. I think he had 1 scoring chance in the game. He's just, I don't know. I mean, he seems to be on the periphery. And I just think that maybe that's where he wants to be, and maybe that's where he thinks he's the most creative. But really, I mean, Tavares is in front of the net on the power play, is working behind the net. It's just not happening for him. Right now, Tavares is matched up against Stamkos.
Trevor Hickey thinks that Johnny T is injured.
He's not. I don't think it is. But the matchup, the matchups right now are Cirelli, Killorn, and Point against the Matthews-Marner line. Tonight,
and they could be canceling each other out. So you're going to need the secondary, the third ring of scoring, even some of the guys you'd never expect to get on the score sheet to produce.
Maybe it's just me. I don't feel exactly comfortable with the difference in the series being on the back of David Kampf or Pierre Engvall. Pierre Engvall's had a great series. So is Mikheyev. So is Kampf. He's got 2 goals. He's got more goals in the playoffs this year than he had last season for Chicago. So I give him all the credit. I'm just saying, if this is a chess match, and you blocked Matthews and Marner with that Killorn, Cirelli, Point line, and you block Tavares and Nylander with Stamkos and Palat and whoever they have on that line, then all your king and your queen in that analogy is your third line and your fourth line. And I don't know how comfortable I am with that.
So I get it. Sustainability. Are you going to get goals from Mick? Is he going to be in the early running for the Conn Smythe? So far, so good in this series, Mike. And again, the backbone of the entire run has to be Jack Campbell, right? So if he's solid throughout, whether they're up against it or they're way ahead, then That bodes well for the Leafs, and obviously his counterpart, if he's doing well or poorly, that obviously affects the chances of the opposition moving through. You know, when the Leafs took the big lead in the first game and it got out of hand, it turned into a bunch of fuckery, right? And there was penalty minutes galore, about 110, 120 penalty minutes. Things have really, really, really calmed down. Do you think we're going to get to a point where Tampa has to try and induce the Leafs into the trenches? Do you think they'll get to that point where they feel like they can't necessarily play with them and they're going to have to get nasty and roll up the sleeves? Because I don't know if the Leafs, talking about sustainability, I don't know if the Leafs can handle that on a constant,
They made a tactical move in game 3, seeing how many penalties were being called, and that this was being called like a regular season game, which I don't particularly like, but they read the landscape of that, and they decided, okay, we're sitting Simmons, we're sitting Clifford, and we're starting Spezza. Mm-hmm. So they did that, and the Leafs had the advantage on the power plays 5-3. Right. So that worked, and I think they're going to stick with that. Now, I don't know whether Tampa really is going to do anything different in terms of a lineup. They may tweak a little. And one note, and it might just be, a day of rest. Kucherov didn't practice today. He was on their first power play. He was missing from the first power play. So if he's out for any reason, that's a big thumbs up to the Leafs. But the whole point here is that, they're not dead. Tampa is not dead, and they could very easily win game 4. And the Leafs are going to have to put the same effort that they did in 1 and 3 to be able to win game 4 and go back to Toronto. And then you can't rest on your laurels like you did last year. Then you're going to have to finish them off in game 5 or game 6 or game 7. If it's 2-2, then it's a best of 3 series. And I mean, you're up against the Cup champion. So I'm giving the Leafs credit, but I'm also saying this is far from over.
Right. Andrew Walters, this team gives me so much joy and so much anxiety all at the same time. He loves it. Go Leafs, go. We're all feeling the same way, Andrew. So we want to enjoy what's going on. And they're up 2-1. Fantastic. Okay. We're enjoying the moment because we have a series of moments leading up to these big moments and then even bigger moments, hopefully, to come. But if we're comparing what's going on now with what happened last year, you can understand that for some there's a serious skepticism that prevails, and it's because of last year, but also the year before and the year before and the year before and the decade before that. So if the Leafs win this series cathartically and just therapeutically, it's a big weight off the shoulders of the fans. I mean, for the organization, for the biggest organization in hockey, you think the goal should be to, we're winning or bust. But at this point right now, winning or bust does require a first-round win. That's something the Leafs haven't been able to do since, what year was it? 04? 04, right? So... Yeah. So don't blame us. Like, I'm just saying, and I'll let you go on, Mike. This, people want to hear what you have to say, and rightfully so. You're one of the best. Don't get down on us for being negative. We're not negative. Internally, we want the series to go the Leafs' way. But we're coming up to a point here where it's going to replicate what happened last year or not. And we've got to get over that. For me personally, if the Leafs win this series, it's just a huge weight off my shoulders as a fan, and it just changes my outlook on everything. We need to get there, though. We're taking the steps in the right direction as a group, as a team, and as a community. But one game at a time. There's game 4 tomorrow. Who knows what the hell that brings? Yeah,
I mean, I think tactically, they're gonna go with the same lineup tomorrow. Right. So and they're gonna basically follow the same pattern, follow the same blueprint to victory. They're gonna hope that they can out hustle Tampa. Now Tampa's gonna have a level of desperation here, and that's what it's like. If they go down 3-1, it's going to be really tough for them. But the thing is, this is a different team than the team that lost 3-1. They have Tavares. They're a year older. They're a year more experienced. Their defense is much better. I think Campbell, I didn't hold him at fault for any of the goals in game 2, and he was excellent in game 1. And, even though, he didn't have faced a lot of shots, and game 3, he was great. So they're getting a consistent performance out of Campbell. Their defense is playing well. They just need, like in game 4, if you want this to shoot the arrow through the heart of the Lightning, then Matthews and Marner are going to have to turn it on and fight through a line and a defensive combo that has won 2 straight cups. It's a challenge, but that's what they're going to have to do.
So Marner and Matthews, 12 shots on goal last night. Sometimes it's just not going to work, especially when you're up against the top line. So someone else has to step it up. Tavares is doing the things like, face-offs, and like you said, he's doing, support work. And Nylander, with him, all of a sudden one goal begets another, and he can get hot. So it's just the third rung dudes, some of the fourth line scoring, getting the goals. It's it's hard to apologize for it. It's good because we just don't know if Matthews is going to have a 4-goal game in the next one, or things may get tighter. And if it does, you can't really complain about it in that moment. You're just looking for the other dudes to support. And Mike, I mean, this is what it's all about. Brad Tyndall, Norm's face showing signs of optimism. For sure I'm optimistic. I'm also pessimistic too. Chris Daniels, we could actually pull this off. As of right now, it feels like we can. Super Strike 9, there's an OG. If you're a Leaf fan and you're not a bit cynical at this point, where the hell have you been?
Exactly.
Correct. The thing is, the cynicism isn't manufactured. It's not. No. It's just going to be cynical because I want to be. I'm
genuine angst.
Right. I'm just cynical because of everything. This is accrued over years and years for a lot of people. Right. The cynicism is. I mean, it's justified, but the cynicism doesn't supplant the hope or optimism that's there. It's a combination, right? And there are people who are fans who are just go, banging the drum. We can do this. Go get them. Like the mom watching her son at the T-ball game. We can do this. Go team. Fine. We, as in a collective, you need those people. But where I'm at right now, I'm just cautiously optimistic. But I told you, for me personally, and whether anybody thinks this means anything, so it's up to you. I need to get this Leafs team needs to win the series, and we may come to and encounter a moment where the team is up 3-1. Remember what happened the last time it was up 3-1. And if it just goes 7, 3-2, 3-3, and then game 7, it's just a coin toss, then so be it. And if they win, for me, it's a big moment. If they lose, then I'll have to find ways to summon some excitement and hope for the next year. And then, I'll have a whole summer to deal with it. Just a few more things I wanted to get to, a couple of community notes, and we'll get out of here.
Pull up Brad's question because I can answer that.
How do we line up against the Caps if they win over Florida? Is that the one?
Well, I mean, okay, right now Washington's up 2-1 on Florida, and I'm stunned because Washington is extremely wounded. Ovechkin's not 100%. I mean, I think he hurt his shoulder against the Leafs late in the regular season. Tom Wilson is not in the lineup. He's got some sort of lower body injury, so he may not be back for a while. So, I mean, nobody in this world is thinking past Tampa. So, I mean, and nobody with the Leafs, nobody in their management, none of the players, they're focused on beating Tampa. Okay, we have the luxury of looking outside the box and saying, okay, who would they play if they beat Tampa? And that would be the winner of Washington, Florida. I still think Florida is going to win that series. If they do, then expect a wide open, wild, offensive series between Florida and the Leafs, because that will, that's what they would. That's what and Washington. I think Washington would try to play more defensive, and they have a lot of experience. But again, nobody in their right mind is thinking about Florida or Washington right now. They're focused on game 4, and that's what they should be.
So take every team that's up in their first round series right now. Out of the 8 teams that are ahead, who's there in the end? You're going to have some teams lose 3 straight. 2, they're out. Win the series, lose. I mean, we're still I don't know. Are we in the infancy stage of what could be a long playoff run? For sure. We also may be at near the halfway point of the season end for the Maple Leafs. Again. You know, there's root for the home team, which we're all doing, and then we've done this over and over again. This is old hats, and based on experience, sure. You know, there are teams that aren't as good that have lost, that have represented the Maple Leafs compared to this team. But there are teams that were better that have lost. So at the end of the day, let's take it game by game, as I've seen some of the OGs and converts in the chat say. I do want to get to a couple of people who aren't normally with us, like Al M. Feeling pretty good about the Leafs. One thing that needs to happen is to get Nylander and Tavares going. For sure, the Leafs could certainly use. I mean, if the Nylander and Tavares were going, and Marner and Matthews chipped in one apiece, and we got something from Mikheyev, perhaps the Bolts don't really have a chance. Now, James Janke, the Leafs looked a little more relaxed last night. So, and that's another thing, Mike. No matter who scores, and really at the end of the day, no matter the result at this point of that particular game, do you get a sense that the Leafs are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more poised, perhaps ready for the moment this time? I mean, do we even know at this point? Is it still too early to tell?
I don't pick up on them being relaxed, and I don't want a team in the playoffs being relaxed. I want them being.
But he means just ready for, like, again,
I think they're more
experienced. And banning on shots. Sorry,
I think they're more experienced. Norm, I think they're more experienced. I think that, and then so they have more confidence in accomplishing the task. But in terms, I don't think they're relaxed. I think they're actually like on edge, and they should be on edge because one play could cost you the series. They have to be hustling,
comfortable.
No, I don't pick on. I don't pick on that any comfort. And again, I don't want them being comfortable. I want them being rabid dogs. That's what I want
Uncle Blue Hat, JT. I don't know what he's saying out here. They need way more for 11. Please, OGs, Uncle Blue Hat. Thanks for being here. No more talk about. Hey, no more. I'm not going to. This is the last one. No more talk about salaries. It doesn't matter whether you make $1 gazillion or $1. Fuck the salaries.
Yeah,
stop it. This is the playoffs. Nobody cares about what anyone makes. We can talk about that after. Blue Hat, thanks for being here. Don't talk to me about salaries now. They mean nothing.
Yeah,
they really mean nothing. A guy who makes $2 scores a game winner. He should be paid $10 million for that. Forget the salaries.
You care about the level of performance.
Forget it.
That's all you get. And in the first two games, Tavares won 80% of the faceoffs and had an assist. I didn't think
they're all overpaid, guys. They're all overpaid.
Jesus, I think that he had a bad game 3 because he really wasn't a factor, and they need him to be a factor. But Jeremy W had something in there saying, "What about putting Marner and with JT and Willie McMahon?" No, they're not going to do that.
What is with taking what? Why is Marner this piece that can be pulled out of what he and Matthews? They're the reason Matthews scored 60 goals is because Marner was feeding him.
And Marner was with Tavares when he scored 47 goals. And Marner is a better playmaker than Nylander. Nylander's more of a shooter. I get what he's saying, but
but at this point, like that's just
watch this. Watch, like if the Leafs have a penalty, or they're killing a penalty, and Marner is out there with Kerfoot or Kampf or whoever. The next line after they kill the penalty will be Tavares, Matthews, and Nylander, because those 3 guys aren't killing penalties.
Right.
And so you have that super line for one shift, and that could work, but they're not. I really don't think that they're
all playing together on the power play anyway. Like, come on.
They're not going to mess with the combos 5-on-5. Marner and Matthews know where they are. Like they know them like the back of their own hand, so they're not going.
So again, it's a compliment. Oh, Marner can play with anybody, but I don't. Why is he so interchangeable? he is essential. He is essential at the top of the heap. He and Matthews, I'll tell you, as long as those two cats are wearing blue and white together, they're tied at the hip. Right? They're just tied. They're just tied at the hip. It's Marner needs to go get Tavares going. He needs to get, player X going.
As of this moment, the leading scorer in the Stanley Cup playoffs is not Connor McDavid. It's not Kirill Kaprizov. It's not Cale Makar. It's Mitch Marner.
So put him on the second line. Look, really, we need to get Nylander and Matthews. It's after all these years, it's finally time to again, those guys can all play together on the power play, draw some penalties, and get on the power play. That supercharged group needs to do better than 1 for 5 or 0 for 4 in that situation. So again, it's even yesterday, Marner and Matthews really didn't do a hell of a lot. I don't like the idea of mixing them up. I mean, if you're down 3-0 and it's who gives a shit, throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. Sure, go for it just for the hell of it. That combo is a championship first. That's a potentially championship first line. No reason to move to split those guys up.
One thing that you saw late in the game, in Game 3, they put Kerfoot on the line with Matthews and Marner because that was the combination in Game 1. I think they're going to keep that. They practiced today with Kerfoot on the line, moving Bunting down to the 4th line. I think that more has to do more with Bunting maybe, feeling the effects of the injury that he came back from, and they want to maybe limit his minutes. And Kerfoot is so good defensively, and basically, he can go in any position, center, right wing, left wing, 3rd line, 4th line. So, I think they'll start with that, but there's no guarantee that they'll keep that. It's really, he's the guy who can just fit in any position. But I really think that they need to get Nylander and Tavares going if they're going to win the series.
It would certainly be helpful, and it could start tomorrow night in the first period. Those two cats connect. They connect again, and we know with Nylander, 1 goal could set him on a wicked streak, and you'll have the parade of Nylander fans in the street. And if that results in the Leafs winning this first series, for me personally, I will take it. If he doesn't do anything in this first round, the Leafs get through, he's going to contribute at some point. And then the Leafs need the contributions from Matthews and Marner throughout, because those are not only the best players on the team, but 2 of the best guys in the league. And as you mentioned, Marner is leading the playoffs in scoring, and that's pretty much what a guy like that can do based on all of the skills he has. He kills penalties. He's out there in the last crucial minutes. This is the time for the top players to rise above the rest. And so far, so good in this series, up 2-1 with a chance potentially to go up 3-1. I'll believe it when I see it. A few things out of community. I'll leave you the last word, Mike, and then we can get out of here, because the people who contribute to community really help keep this podcast going, especially when no one else is watching or listening. Awesome. Matthews, a win's a win. Colin M. Mike better be less salty tonight. Well, Colin, you can be the judge of that.
Sorry, folks. I don't change. I'm as constant as the North Star. If they win, I will give them credit. If they lose, I will rip them a new one. And that's just the way I am. I will never change.
So we've got Andrew Walters. Guys, you can go into youtube.com/the Leafs Convo. Andrew Walters, Jack Campbell was a monster last night. Yes. Damn straight he was. And I don't care about his personal story. I think he wants to contribute to the Leafs story. Just great. And again, he needs to be, George Vezina. If this team's going to win a Stanley Cup, it's his time to take a shot at becoming immortal here. Lucio, too, huge supporter of us, wants us to keep it going after this season. He says, April wine tonight with exclamation marks. So, Lucio, does that mean that you're drinking wine that you bought or built or created this month, or are you listening to the band April?
Or are you listening to Sign of the Gypsy Queen?
So, yeah, that's the song. I'm sorry, I'm all Led Zeppelin all the time now. I went right to the top. Like I'm the Stanley Cup of music right now, and you can't. Sorry, Mike. And Sarah McLachlan's great and all, but don't try to. Billy Joel, give me a break. Plant, Page, JPJ, and what's better than that? The Goo Goo Dolls because they're from Buffalo.
No, I love Zeppelin, but if you're talking about like Canadian rock, Rush, Triumph. And I obviously have an affinity for Miss McLaughlin, who is my future wife. She just doesn't know that yet.
Billy Talent, I Mother Earth, Our Lady Peace, get with it. Mid-90s.
Honeymoon Suite. Wow,
Honeymoon Suite rules.
Watchmen.
Yeah,
obviously the Hip, who are.
If you don't bring up Kim Mitchell, I'm going to shut this podcast down right now. Motley Crue. Listen to
Max Webster. Yes. I'm a big
Dr. Feelgood, Chris Daniels. That's your new nickname, bud. And Michael Matthew wants to know what time the podcast is. Guys, we don't even know. We don't even know when we're going to go. Okay, so tomorrow, I've got to think that Tampa's a little on edge for Game 4. Talking about being relaxed and comfortable and stuff. Even though they're the champions, they're not playing a team that shouldn't be there. The Leafs are damn good. Well, it's going to be Tampa gripping it a little tight, don't you? How do the Leafs take advantage of that if that's indeed the case? Last word to you. Rusty. Oh my God, Rusty. Yes, I remember that, Brad. Rusty for sure.
I think that the Leafs are going to have to prepare for basically a bull rush, like a surge early in the game against, the Tampa will be desperate to get up early to get the crowd on their side. If the Leafs do what they did in Game 3 and score early and put them in a position where they're having to open it up, it's not going to be great for Tampa. But every game is different, and Game 3 was like Game 1. The Leafs have to avoid Game 4 being like Game 2.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Brad Tyndall. Bruce LaBruce directed a Rusty video with Danko Jones in it. I forget the name of the song. You can get at me in the chat. Come on, man. I remember my Much Music days. OG's Converse, thanks so much for your time tonight. Like I said, we're going to be doing shows in between the games, and the longer the Leafs go, the longer we go. We're going to have some more fun, just like we did last time, like we did tonight, like we'll do in nights and shows in the future. Who knows, Mike? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the Leafs winning a fucking Stanley Cup this year? Can you imagine it? Can you imagine it after 3
I can't. I'd like to see it, but I can't.
If they win the Stanley Cup, how will you shit on it?
I won't. But I just can't imagine it. I mean, I hope it happens. It'd be nice if it happened. A lot of my friends and a lot of people in Toronto would be overjoyed. And covering this team, it would be much more pleasant to see a celebratory situation than the angst of losing and who's going to be traded and what's going to be, how is this team going to be reshaped? I would like for change. I covered the Marlies in the Calder Cup in 2018, and really there were no consequences other than these were prospects for the Leafs, but you want to see them win, and fans wanted to see them win, and they did win, and that was great. But it's a tough slog to go through and win 16 games in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Leafs won 2. They need 14 more.
If you look back at the last 20 years, organizations that had Calder Cup winners went on to have success.
Yep.
Right? Even Montreal back in the day when Hamilton won a Calder Cup, they were running peak.
The Calder Cup final in 2012
mm-hmm.
between Norfolk and the Toronto Marlies.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Eakins was the head coach of the Marlies. The head coach of Norfolk was a guy named John Cooper. Palat, Killorn, Kucherov were all on that team.
Who was on the Sheldon Keefe-led team in 2018?
Oh, that was Andreas Janssen and Travis Dermott, and
was Nylander on that team, or was he?
Nylander was 2016.
So what are you saying? Like he doesn't.
No. I'm saying he wasn't on the team. I was
geez.
But Engvall was on the team, and Mason Marchment, who's going to strike it big in free agency this year. And the goalies were, Garrett Sparks and Calvin Pickard.
Right.
So, it was a good team, and the Leafs have a few players from that team, but not like Norfolk fed that Tampa team that won cups. That
Right.
was, Tyler Johnson, I think, was on that team as well. So, yeah.
I think the Leafs have the skill, if this was just a skill competition, to go all the way. Are they physically tough enough? We'll find out. Are they mentally tough enough? Again, something to be discovered as we go forward. It could be a lot worse. They could be down 3-0. They could be down 2-1. They're leading this series, and they have a real good opportunity to set themselves apart here, get back to the stage they were at last year, a stage they could not overcome. Now they get a second shot at it. Down the line, Mike, will Leaf fans be unified with with whatever success the Leafs have in this playoff, whether it's all the way or close? I doubt it. I don't think this large fan base will ever come back together, even if they're partying on Yonge and Bay Street with the championship. There will always be something that divides us. But for now, there's a potential, at least a temporary unification, and that would be with the ultimate success, and that's a Stanley Cup. Could be a lot worse, brother.
Let me just correct. Kucherov was still in Russia at that point. Palat was on that team. That's
it, Mike. We're shutting the podcast down. If you can't get the facts 100% right, this is the end. So, guys, thanks for joining us for the last 4 years. We're going to end this right now because Mike
made a mistake. There you go.
Okay, guys, thanks so much. Stay tuned. Be near. Stay close, as I used to say in radio. Another convo is coming up next. Talk to you soon. Bye.